Hi, my name is Anna Mirabella, and this is my presentation for the third assignment for CMU's Design, Ethos, and Action course. For this project, I looked at the Mechanical Engineering department and the ways it can be improved. I started the project with a concept map. In pencil are the different points that connect to the Mechanical Engineering department, and in purple are the problems I identified. The different points include department and faculty advisors, the machine shop, electives, course assignments, the career counselor, and alumni. Problems ranged from lack of students' confidence in their machining abilities, difficulty finding internships at career fairs, and the steep learning curve that many mechy extracurricular organizations seem to have. However, the points I found most important were those revolving around courses, student learning, and the ability of students to apply what they have learned beyond standard assignments. Here is a simplified model of how I see the courses fitting into a bigger picture. For a class, students are given assignments where the hope is that they will learn to apply concepts. Grades are given to these assignments in a way meant to be representative of how much learning has occurred. However, the learning itself isn't strongly grounded in this system, hence the dashed box. When it comes to getting jobs, many employers see grades as the primary initial indicator of a student's ability to solve real-world problems. However, the actual learning that has occurred isn't clearly displayed as an indicator, even though it is the most important part in being able to solve engineering problems. So the main problem I identified is that the structured curriculum and pressure to maintain a high GPA do not promote learning for life and creative problem solving. This problem isn't exactly unique to CMU students or my department, but I've been able to see how the structure of our courses is directly related to this. Students can often save time and effort by taking shortcuts to get to the same end results expected from them. So the primary stakeholders are the students, faculty, and employers. Students are at the core of the issue since they are essentially the customer at CMU. However, many students don't seem to be comfortable applying concepts, and when we are assigned projects, the pressure to do well leaves many people unsure of where to start. No longer having one right answer makes it hard to know what direction to work towards, especially when students are used to the idea that if they put in a certain amount of time or effort and follow the given steps, they will be able to earn a specific grade. Students are also investing in this education in the hopes for a long-term payoff. Faculty are held responsible for the performance of students, but they teach in lecture halls where it is nearly impossible to interact with every student. But the ultimate stakeholder is the employer. They are the ones looking for engineers to solve problems, but since many companies still hire from behavioral interviews, it can be a gamble as to how well a student actually understands the relevant ideas. Ultimately, this matters because the focus has been taken away from problem solving, which is supposed to be the core of engineering. In one of the reading and video pairs we looked at, Barry Schwartz discussed practical wisdom and how people only do things for the incentives. The current system incentivizes students to do well in school by getting good grades. While often learning the material leads to high grades, it is also easy enough to memorize how to solve problems. For example, on an exam where you must know a proof, you could go through the steps to understand the final answer, or you can simply memorize the class notes. Both strategies produce the same end result on the test, but understanding the derivation may take much longer initially and be harder to work through on your own. Similarly, Dan Ariely discussed the presence of dishonesty. People will cheat if they don't quite feel the consequences or guilt. When students see their peers using these shortcuts and earning the same grades, they lose the motivation to put in more effort for the same result. Ultimately, academic performance can become a dishonest representation of learning. Some students may have practical knowledge that doesn't show on their transcript, while others may have straight A's but not know the difference between a nail and a screw. So here's one scenario demonstrating the lack of drive to understand the course material. To read the dialogue, I was just pausing it now, but issues arise in this situation when a student is feeling that they only need to understand what they think will be on an assessment. There is no demonstration of a desire to learn the material for the sake of learning, and it is viewed as unfair when a new type of problem appears different from what the students would have expected, even if this new problem is within the range of the course material. On the other hand, this situation demonstrates the lack of motivation to explore intellectual interests if they may require more work or result in a lower academic performance. It is common for students to view electives and general education requirements as a means to boost their GPA or at least try not to lower it. As a result, people do not make the most out of these required units. Here's a storyboard of the current situation. Starting in the top left, we see a teacher speaking in a lecture hall. However, they don't actually know their students. The teacher assigns a project to the students and declares that it's a competition between them. As a result, there is resistance between the students to help each other, but the pressure to perform still remains. One student may work for 3 hours and still struggle to find a solution. However, another student may have finished it after a much longer period of time. There's often nothing stopping the first student from watching his peers and taking in information about their designs. Often classes require the submission of an initial report or presentation to the class, which is a means for everyone to see the most successful designs. It becomes very easy for students to look at the successful parts and attempt to replicate them. In the end, the original and replicated parts can, and often do, earn the same grade. Throughout this scenario, the professor has limited visibility as to which students are learning and which students are using these so-called shortcuts. But in the end, the two types of students can earn the same grade. To address these issues, I came up with 3 solutions. The first is to make shifts that encourage students to explore their interests. This could be by allowing students to replace general education requirements with a minor outside their major, making gen ed courses pass-fail to encourage students to explore their interests, or make projects open-ended and allow for more creativity. The second solution is to foster student-teacher relationships. Currently, most students and teachers do not know each other. If students attend office hours, it is mostly with a TA, and there can be a stigma against going because it is seen as admitting that you need help. If students were strongly encouraged or required to attend conferences with their teachers, professors could get a better gauge on students, and students may come to have a stronger understanding of why the course material is relevant. Finally, these problems can be resolved by shifting the emphasis from performance to the process. Projects and case studies allow students to think creatively and solve new problems while applying concepts in more abstract ways. However, homework assignments are often graded on correctness, meaning students just work towards an answer. By emphasizing the process, students can be encouraged to take their time to understand the material rather than rush through just to get the right answer. Here's a storyboard of a future scenario. In it, students still attend lecture, but there are personal relationships between the professors and students. Professors are more present while students are working on their projects, and this allows them to evaluate the effort in learning rather than just the final project. Below, once again, is a linear system with lectures, assignments, and grades. But for the way our society currently works, grades still allow the necessary baseline to compare students to each other and evaluate them on performance. However, open-ended projects can still be done in parallel. Students should be encouraged to explore their interests, areas within it, and then create projects based on them. A low-stakes environment such as a student-taught course or mini would be perfect for these projects since students would no longer face a large amount of pressure to compete against their peers and could take their time completing a project that is actually of genuine interest to them. In conclusion, this project has brought up a lot of questions for me, mainly things like how we can change the incentives, whether that be changing the curriculum or the culture we are in, and how we can measure leading indicators of students rather than just basing it on assessments. My thoughts are that all 3 solutions I proposed would ideally be implemented to make the curriculum support a sustainable culture. If students understand the relevance of course material and are encouraged to explore their interests, they will see more value in investing time and effort in their education. Student-teacher relationships also have a way of increasing the sense of accountability students feel, and focusing on the process brings the focus back to problem solving and lifelong skills. Thank you.